The ship landed gently on the surface of Larucine, a planet full of strange blue plants, tall silver mountains, and glowing rivers. Alex stood by the door of the shuttle, his heart beating fast. He was Earth's first official diplomat to visit the Lyran Empire, a place that had once avoided all contact with humans. Now, after years of silence, they had invited one man, and that man was him. He stepped down the ramp slowly, taking in the alien world. The air felt lighter than Earth's, and everything smelled like fresh rain and stone. A group of Lyrans stood. In formation, all tall and graceful, their skin light gold and eyes glowing softly. Their armor shimmered like glass, and their faces showed no emotion, except one. She stood in the front. Her armor was darker, marked with silver lines across the chest. Her eyes met his, and she took a deep breath. Then she bowed. Alex froze. No one told him to expect this. It's on Earth. A bow was a sign of respect, but here among such proud warriors, it must mean something more. The others in the group gasped quietly. One of the older Lyrans frowned, clearly surprised. But the woman held her bow deep and steady. Alex did the only thing that felt right. He bowed back, slowly, respectfully. And when he stood again, her eyes were still locked on his. There was something in her gaze, warm, curious, calm. She finally spoke. "I am Kailari, daughter of the High Matriarch," she said. "I welcome you, human, to our home." Alex nodded. "I'm honored to be here. I'm Alex Mason, envoy of Earth." She turned and gestured for him to walk beside her. Together they moved through the shining city of Lyrasai. The buildings looked like carved crystal, bending light in strange and beautiful ways. The streets were quiet, and the people watched silently as Alex passed. Some looked unsure, others curious. Many whispered. "They do not understand why I bowed," Kailari said, breaking the silence. Alex looked at her. "Why did you?" She paused for a moment. "Because I saw something different in your eyes. Most envoys come with pride." He came with peace. They walked through gardens filled with floating flowers and statues carved from single stones. Kailari showed him the places of honor where their greatest warriors were remembered. Alex noticed how every statue stood tall, with blades in hand. This was a culture built on strength, but Kailari, though strong, spoke softly. She explained their ways without pride or anger. She asked Alex about Earth's oceans, its cities, its people. She listened, really listened, as if every word mattered. "Your world is loud," she said, smiling a little. "Yes," Alex replied, smiling back. "And full of mistakes?" "So is ours," she admitted. "But we learn from them." Slowly. As the sun set, casting golden light across the sky, Alex was led to a guest home made from stone and glass. Kailari walked him there herself, even though others offered to do it. "You do not belong here," she said softly, "but that is not a bad thing." He looked at her. "Do you think they'll accept me?" "Maybe not now," she said, "but soon." Before leaving, she bowed once more. This time it was smaller, more personal. Alex didn't bow back. Instead, he placed a hand over his chest and gave her a thankful nod. Alone in his room, he sat near the wide window, watching the stars appear. He thought about her eyes, her voice, and her calm strength. He didn't expect to feel connected so quickly. He'd come here to speak for Earth, to sign papers, to start peace. But something deeper had just begun. The morning light in Larucine was soft and golden. Alex woke up early, stepping onto the smooth stone balcony outside his room. The sky was filled with gentle clouds that moved slowly like floating silk. Birds with long wings and bright tails flew across the horizon. He stood quietly, thinking about the day before especially. Kailari. A soft knock on the door broke his thoughts. When he opened it, Kailari stood there, still in her warrior armor, but without her helmet. Her long dark hair was tied back, and her eyes looked calm. "May I show you the rest of the city?" she asked. Alex nodded. "I'd like that." Walked side by side through the early streets. The city was waking up. Shops opened. Children laughed in the distance, and the scent of sweet bread filled the air. Alex noticed how the people looked at Kailari with great respect. Some bowed slightly as she passed. She was more than just the daughter of the High Matriarch. She was admired. "You're important here," Alex said. "Only to those who understand." "Honor," she replied. They passed through the training fields where young warriors practiced with blades and staffs. Kalari paused to greet a few students, offering advice and brief smiles. She moved with confidence, but Alex saw something else in her too, a softness behind the armor, a quiet soul that didn't fully match the warrior title. "Fought in a war?" Alex asked. Kalari nodded. "Once it was not glorious. It left scars here and here." She touched her shoulder and then her heart. He didn't know what to say. Instead, he walked beside her in silence until they reached a high garden. It overlooked the entire city, with a round stone platform at the center. From there, Alex could see the rivers, the mountains, and the shining buildings. "This place is called Voice of Peace," Kailari said. "We come here to speak truth. No lies are allowed on this stone." Alex stepped onto it slowly. "So if I speak now, I must be honest." She nodded. He looked at her, then at the horizon. "I didn't want to come here at first, I thought. It would be all politics and pressure, but now I'm glad I came, because of me," she asked, raising an eyebrow. "Yes," he said softly. "You bowed to me when no one else did. That meant something." Kailari looked down for a moment. "My mother says I let my heart guide me too often.
Oh.
But my heart said you were different." They sat in silence, listening to the soft wind. Alex noticed how peaceful it felt beside her. No pressure, no games. Just honesty. Later that day, Kaler took him to the records hall, a place where the history of their people was kept in glowing crystals. Stories were stored in light, passed down by voice and memory. Listened to ancient tales of bravery, love, betrayal, and sacrifice. The one that caught his attention was about a Lyran who fell in love with someone from another world and gave up everything to protect that bond. "Does your world believe in love?" Kailari asked suddenly. "We do," Alex said. "Though we often break it." "Ours too," she said. "But when it is true, it becomes sacred." As they walked back through the city, a group of older warriors stopped them. Their leader, a stern-looking man named Soren, spoke in a firm voice. "Kailari, the council is concerned. Spend too much time with the human." Alex stepped back, unsure what to do. Kailari didn't move. "He is our guest. I treat him with respect. Respect can become something else," Soren said. "You forget your duty." "I remember it," she replied. "That's why I guide him." After the group left, Alex looked at her carefully. "Is this dangerous for you?" She smiled slightly. "Only if I care too much." They stopped by a quiet stream. Kailari knelt to touch the water and Alex sat beside her. "Do you regret bowing to me that day?" he asked. "No," she said without hesitation. "I meant it. And if I had to, I would do it again." He didn't know why, but his chest felt heavy with emotion. She was unlike anyone he had ever met, strong but gentle, proud but open. The sky darkened as evening came. Kailari stood and helped him to his feet. "I will walk you to your quarters," she said. They didn't speak much on the way back, but before leaving, Kailari did something unexpected. She reached into her armor and took out a small metal charma, smooth silver circle with a single star carved into it. "This was given to me after my first battle," she said. "It is a symbol of courage. I want you to have it." Alex took it carefully, holding it like it was made of glass. "Thank you." He whispered. Kailari nodded once, and then walked away without another word. He stood there for a long time, staring at the charm. Something was happening. Something was happening. Quiet but powerful. He had come here to make peace between two worlds. But he didn't expect that one heart could change everything. The days passed slowly, but Alex didn't feel bored. Every hour on Lyricine felt different, filled with beauty and quiet surprises. The skies were always changing colors, and the wind carried soft music from the floating vines. but nothing amazed him more than Kailari. Every morning she met him outside his room. They would walk through the city, visit new places, talk about things that seemed simple but felt important, like family, honor, and trust. On one of those mornings, Kailari brought him to a hidden training ground in the woods. It was a round area with smooth stone floors and ancient markings carved into the ground. Soft light from above broke through the tall trees. "This is where I trained as a child," she said. "No one else comes here now." Alex looked around. "Why bring me?" "'Cause I want to show you something," she said and handed him a wooden staff. He raised an eyebrow. "You want me to fight you?" "Not fight, learn." He stood in the circle, and she showed him how to hold the staff properly, how to stand firm, and how to move without fear. At first, Alex stumbled. He almost dropped the staff twice, but Kailari only laughed gently. "You have strength," she said. "It's just hidden behind your thoughts." Alex tried again. This time, his movements were smoother. Kailari stepped closer and corrected his posture with a gentle touch on his shoulder. "Your people fight with machines," she said. "We fight with spirit, and you're trying to teach me yours." "No," she said. "I want to know yours." After the practice, they sat near the trees. Kailari brought him a drink made from a local fruit. It was cold and sweet. "You trained hard today," she said. "I think I'll feel it in the morning," Alex replied with a laugh. But just as they began to relax, a sudden sound broke through the trees. Loud footsteps. A group of masked Lyrans entered the clearing, holding weapons. They weren't part of the city guard. Kailari stood immediately, her body tense. "Step behind me," she said to Alex. He didn't argue. The leader of the group pointed at Alex. "The human does not belong here," he warned the council. "This is not the way," Kailari said firmly. "Put down your weapons. You protect him," the leader growled. "You bow to him. Are you not one of us?" "Am," she said, "and that is why I stand between you and him." The group charged. Kailari moved like a shadow, fast and silent. She used her staff to block, strike, and disarm with grace and force. Alex could only watch in awe. One by one, the attackers were defeated without any killing blow. They limped away, leaving behind only silence and broken pride. Alex rushed to her side. "Are you hurt?" Kailari shook her head. "They didn't land a single strike." "Why did they come after me?" "'Cause they fear change," she said. "And you are the beginning of it." That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He sat on the edge of his bed, the silver charm still around his neck. He kept replaying the scene in his mind. Kailari standing between him and danger, fearless. He left his room quietly and walked toward the garden where they first shared truth. He didn't expect anyone to be there, but Kailari was already sitting on the stone platform. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked without turning. "Neither could you." She nodded. "I keep thinking about today, about what it means." Alex sat beside her. The stars above were brighter than ever. "You could have been hurt," he said, "because of me." "I was ready for that," she replied. "I would be ready again." He looked at her carefully. "Why?" She turned toward him, her eyes softer now. "Do you know what your presence here means to me? Tell me." "I've lived by duty all my life. I trained, I fought, I followed. I never asked questions. But then you came, and you made me feel seen. Not as a warrior, but as someone more." Alex felt his heart beat faster. "When you bowed back to me that first day," she continued, "you didn't know what it meant. But you did it anyway with respect. That small act touched something in me, and every day since, it has grown." He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You gave me a symbol of courage. But you've been the brave one since the start." Kailari smiled. "Then let us be brave together." Alex took a deep breath. "You're not just someone I admire anymore. I care for you." She reached out and gently took his hand. "And I for you." In that quiet moment, under the stars. Of Lyricine, two hearts from different worlds found something true. Not just peace, not just understanding, but love. The morning after the attack felt different. The skies over Lyricine were still bright, and the winds still soft. but something had shifted between Alex and Kailari. The way they looked at each other, the way their steps matched when they walked it, was no longer just friendship. Something deeper had formed. Alex sat with Kailari at the edge of the river, where small glowing fish swam under clear water. Birds called from the trees, and leaves drifted down like snow. "Will they try again?" Alex asked, still thinking. About the group that attacked them, Kailari nodded slowly. "Well, others may try a different way through words, not blades." "You're risking so much," he said. "So are you," she replied. "But I would rather risk truth than live in fear." They walked together to the council hall, a tall crystal structure at the heart of the city. The High Matriarch, Kailari's mother, had called for a meeting. Alex had been invited, not just as a guest, but as a voice. Inside the hall, many elders sat in silence, watching as Kailari led Alex to the center. The air felt heavy with judgment. Some eyes were curious, others cold. The High Matriarch stood. She was taller than Kailari, with silver in her hair and deep lines in her face. But her eyes were sharp. "Kailari," she said, "there are questions that must be answered." Kailari bowed her head. "I am ready." You stand close to the human. Protect him. Speak with him. Even walk beside him in sacred places. Is your bond one of diplomacy or something else? Kailari lifted her chin. "It is something else." A quiet gasp moved through the room. Alex felt his chest tighten. He wanted to speak, but Kailari raised her hand gently to stop him. She wanted to carry this moment herself. "I have shared thoughts with him," she said. "Walked beside him in peace and danger. And what I have found is not weakness, but a strength different from ours. His kindness is not soft. His honesty is not simple. I do not just respect him." She turned and looked straight at Alex. "Care for him, more than I ever expected." The room was completely silent. The High Matriarch's face remained unreadable. Then she looked at Alex. "And you, human, do you return this bond?" Alex stepped forward. "I do. I came here for peace between our worlds, but I found something more. Kailari is brave, kind, and full of wisdom. She saw value in me before. Anyone else, I would follow her into storm or fire." For a moment no one spoke. Then an elder named Soren stood. "This is not the way of our people," he said coldly. "Our bonds are not made with outsiders." "Our ways must grow," Kailari replied calmly, "or they will break." The High Matriarch looked at her. "Daughter." Then she looked at Alex. "If you stand together, then stand fully," she said. "Let your bond be known to all, not just in words, but in symbol." Kailari stepped beside Alex and took his hand. "We are ready." "Then speak your bond in the circle of truth," the matriarch said. They were led to the public square where a great crowd had already gathered. Word had spread. Humans had never been part of such a ritual. Now, for the first time, they would. "Witness it." Kailari stepped into the center and raised her voice. "I, Kailari, of the Lyran bloodline, speak truth under the stars. I give trust to Alex of Earth not as an envoy, but as a heart equal to mine." Alex followed her into the circle. "Alex Mason of Earth, speak truth under the stars. I give trust to Kailari not just as a guide, but as the one who saw me when no one else did." Then, without thinking, Alex dropped to one knee. The crowd went silent. He looked up at Kailari, eyes full of emotion. "When you bowed to me, I didn't. Understand? Now I do. It was more than respect. It was an opening of your soul. Now I bow to you, not because I must, but because I choose to." Kailari's eyes shimmered. She reached down, touched his face gently, and helped him to his feet. The High Matriarch stepped forward. "So let this be known. A new kind of bond is born, not through blood or battle, but through truth. Let no one stand against it without shame." The crowd stood silent, but slowly, heads began to bow. One by one, people lowered their eyes in respect. Even some who had once doubted now saw something real. Later that evening, Alex and Kailari walked back to the river. The wind was gentle and the stars bright. "You knelt before me," she said quietly. "I did. Was it hard?" "No," Alex said. "It was the easiest thing I've ever done." She smiled and leaned her head. Against his shoulder, two hearts, two worlds. But in that moment, there was no distance between them. The days after the bond ceremony were quiet but not calm. Whispers spread across Larisine. Some saw the connection between Alex and Kailari as hope proof that peace was possible. Others saw it as danger. Change always brought fear, and not everyone welcomed it. Alex and Kailari stayed close. They trained together, shared stories, and walked hand in hand through the city. Alex started learning the Lyran language. Kailari in return learned human songs, humming them softly while they walked beside the glowing river. But peace never stays still. One night, Kailari was called to a secret meeting by her mother. The High Matriarch looked tired, her eyes filled with worry. "My daughter," she said, "there is something you must know." Kailari stood still, waiting. A group of elders, led by Soren, plans to break the treaty. They believe your bond with the human has weakened our honor. They are gathering warriors outside the city. Kailari's heart dropped. What will they do? They want to attack the human ship? To send a message? If that happens, war will follow. Kailari clenched her fists. No, we can stop this. Then, you must act now. Take Alex. Leave the city. Find the ship. Warn them. What about you? The matriarch stepped forward and touched Kailari's face gently. My place is here. Yours is with the one you chose. Kailari didn't waste time. She ran through the darkened streets and reached Alex's quarters. He opened the door, surprised to see her out of breath, her face tense. What happened? He asked. We have to go now. Alex didn't argue, grabbed his jacket and followed her into the night. They moved quickly through the silent city, staying away from guards and watching eyes. The path to the spaceport was long and hidden, winding through narrow tunnels and forest paths. Every step they took, Alex could feel the weight in Kailari's silence. Finally, they climbed a small hill. The view of the shuttle appeared below them. Two Lyran ships hovered near it. Too close. They're already there, Kailari whispered. We're too late. Alex touched her arm. We're not giving up. Together, they crept closer. From behind the trees, they saw Soren and a small group of armored warriors standing near the shuttle's door. Alex's human pilot, Captain Brenner, was being held at blaster point. He's just a pilot, Alex whispered. They're making a statement. Then we answer with truth, Kailari said. Before Alex could speak, Kailari stepped out from the trees and shouted, Soren. The warriors turned in surprise. You act without honor, Kailari continued. You shame our people, Soren. Narrowed his eyes. You chose the outsider. Your words no longer carry weight, and listen to my actions, she said. With incredible speed, Kailari drew her staff and rushed forward. Alex followed, heart pounding. The fight was fast and full of chaos. Kailari moved like a storm, striking with precision. Alex dodged attacks and used his training to disarm a guard. Together, they pushed toward the shuttle. Captain Brenner, seeing his chance, broke free and shouted, Defensive shields online. Shuttle lit up, its barriers glowing blue. The attackers stepped back, their weapons useless against the shield. Kailari pointed her staff at Soren. It's over. Stand down. Soren growled but lowered his weapon. Its warriors followed. Alex stepped beside Kailari. This could have turned into war. Not today, she said. Not while we stand together. Back in the city, the High Matriarch stood before the council. My daughter protected peace, she said. Those who threatened it will face judgment. This bond, this love is not weakness. It is strength. The council fell silent. Even the doubters began to see. Later that evening, Alex and Kailari stood outside the guest house. The stars were out. The same stars that had watched them from the beginning. You risked everything, Alex said. So did you. He looked at her with quiet wonder. When we first met, you bowed to me. Now, you fought beside me. Kailari smiled. And you knelt to me. Not as a servant, but as a soul. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small item. It was a ring, silver-shaped with earth soul design. We have no ritual like yours, Alex said, but in my world this is a promise. He held it out, unsure. Kailari took it gently and slid it onto her finger. Then we share promises from both worlds. Under the stars they stood together, not just as a human in a line, but as something stronger, as love. Weeks passed since the night of the attack, and the city of Lyrakai slowly returned to peace. The council had punished the rebels, but more importantly, they had opened their minds. For the first time, the Lyran people began to truly accept the bond between Alex and Kylara, not with fear, but with quiet respect. The human and the warrior were no longer just a story of difference. They had become a symbol of unity. Alex now spent his days teaching, walking through schools and halls where young Lyrans asked questions about Earth. He shared tales of human bravery and kindness, and in return, learned more about the deep history of Lyricine. He no longer felt like a stranger. The walls had slowly come down. Kailari trained young warriors. But she trained them in new ways, showing them that strength also came from listening, that a soft word could be as powerful as a sword. She carried her staff, but also the silver ring Alex gave her, now tied to a cord around her neck. One evening, the High Matriarch invited them both to a private gathering deep inside the mountain temple. The air was cold there, and the silence was thick. Candles floated in the air, and ancient songs echoed softly through the stone halls. "Come forward," the matriarch said. "It is time." Alex and Kailari stepped onto the sacred circle. Matriarch looked at them both, her voice calm and strong. "You two began as strangers. Your worlds were far apart. But love," she said, "has shortened the distance." She held out her hands and placed a new symbol in Alex's palm, a golden pin, shaped like two stars crossing. "This is the seal of balance. It means your bond is now part of our legacy. Wear it with honor." Lex nodded slowly, touched beyond words. The matriarch then turned to Kailari and placed her hand on her daughter's shoulder. "You followed your heart, even when it led you into fire. That is true strength." After the ceremony, Alex and Kailari walked outside the temple. It was snowing lightly, the sky a soft blue-gray. Alex looked at her with a small smile. "Do you ever regret it?" "Regret what?" she asked, bowing to me, starting all of this. Kailari laughed softly. "Never. In fact, I should thank you. Before you, I was only a warrior. Now, I feel like something more. Before you," Alex said, "I was only a voice for Earth. Now I feel like I've found my place in the universe." They walked in silence, side by side, hands brushing now and then. Later that night, Kailari led him to the top of the Guardian Tower, the highest point in Lyricai. From there, they could see the entire city glowing below, the rivers shining like threads of light, the mountains watching quietly in the distance. "This is where I come when I need to remember who I am," Kailari said. "And who are you now?" Alex asked. She turned to him, eyes soft. "Someone who loves." He stepped closer, looking into her eyes. "Then so am I." They kissed gently, under the stars, with the wind around them and the world far below. It wasn't loud or wild. It was simple, true, and full of peace. The next morning, Alex received a message from Earth. The Human Council wanted him to return, to give a full report, to speak before the United Worlds Assembly. They had heard whispers of what had happened, but didn't know the full truth. Alex read the message, and then looked at Kailari. "I have to go back. Just for a while." She nodded. "Then go. Speak your truth. I'll be here when you return. Trust me." She touched the ring around her neck. "With everything." Before he left, the people of Lyricai gathered to say farewell. Young Lyrans handed him gift scarvings, small books, a flower that never wilted. Kailari stood beside him, proud and calm. As the shuttle rose into the sky, Alex looked down and saw her one last time, standing with her hand raised high on earth. Alex stood before a massive crowd at the assembly. The room was filled with leaders from many worlds, some cold, some curious, some doubtful. He stepped to the center and spoke. "I was sent to represent Earth," he began. Help build peace with Lyrazine. What I found was more than diplomacy. I found a people full of honor. I found a bond deeper than distance. And I found love. He paused, letting the silence settle. Kailari, daughter of the High Matriarch, bowed to me when we met not, because she had to, because she saw something human inside me. And now, I kneel to her love, because she taught me what strength really is. His words echoed through the chamber. Some stood, some wept, but no one doubted his truth. When he returned to Lyrazine, Kalari was waiting by the river. They listened, he said. Good, she replied. Then she smiled. Now tell me everything. And he did. From that day on, they lived not just as a couple, but as a bridge between two worlds, showing others that respect, trust, and love could change everything. Not through war, not through power, but through a bow and a kneel.